Hey everyone, this is Cholera, and I'm with SC2GG Rise here, and we're commentating Stork versus Yellow Arnc in Game 1 of the Tiebreakers of the OSL round of 16. We'll be doing, I think, all of the Tiebreakers, and the two groups that have Tiebreakers are Groups A and C, I believe, and here we're going to start with Group A. In Group A, the situation stands like this. After the first 6 games of the OSL round 16, we have Batoo at 3-0, which means he gets to leave the group, and Stork, Yellow Arnc, and July each at 1 and 2. So now they're going to have a 3-way tiebreaker to see who is the second person leaving this group, and this should be a very exciting series here. Basically how it works, I think, is whoever gets two wins in a row or something gets to move on. I'm actually not exactly 100% sure what's going to happen, but I know Stork and Yarnc are going to be facing each other right now, and the winner of this game will move on to face Zerg, and I think the winner of that will move on to face Yellow again, or something like that. Yeah, I think that's how it goes. It's basically a round robin. But anyway, Rise, why don't you tell us about some of the matchups that have already occurred in the first 6 games of this group?
Alright, you guys, try to keep up, but I'm going to go through this really quickly. First off, we had Batoo facing against Stork, and Batoo won that match. Yellow Arnc then faced July in a ZVZ on Tears of the Moon, and Yellow beat July. Following that game, we had Yellow versus Stork, and Stork managed to win that game. Batoo then playing July, beat July. So now Batoo's 2-0 at this point. July then beat Stork, and then finally, Batoo beat Yellow. So Batoo going 3-0 like Cholera was saying, and now we got Yellow, Stork, and July all at 1-2, and that is why we're in this tie-breaking series right now. So I'm expecting a lot out of these few games that we're going to be doing here, because we have big names here, and all these players are very good. They're all in like the top 10 of all of StarCraft right now, I'd argue. All 3 of these players, Yellow included, who I've never even thought would ever be at the top 10. So he's got, he's got a lot to prove. Stork, obviously the previous OSL winner, wants to get through. July Zerg, also another previous OSL winner, looking to get his 4th title. So all these players definitely want to get through, and we're going to see a lot of intense games here, I can only imagine. Starting off on Medusa, which is a great map in ZVP. I'd say it's very evenly matched, and it's always an exciting match. If you watch the recent games done by Cholera, actually, we saw a few games here where we actually had a PVZ. It was Jangbi versus Quanro, I think, and that was
Quanro, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely looking to see some good games here, and really all these players have a lot on the line, and everyone is going to give it their all.
Absolutely, and before you guys correct me, it was actually Group B is the other group that needs tiebreakers. Now, I am going to spoil the rest of the round of 16, so maybe you should turn it off, but if you guys don't want to know, but basically Luxury, Yellow Arnc's brother, did get through. So Luxury, once again, has, at least so far, managed to beat Yarnc a little bit again, his identical twin brother. Moving on with Jadong in Group D. Meanwhile, in Group C, Hwasun and Best managed to advance, and Flash did not advance. Also not advancing was Up Magic in that group. And Group B, we'll be seeing later, Fantasy Lita and By Hero are in a 3-way tie after all of them reamed Tester, who was 0-3. And by being so bad, Tester made it so that yeah, there would be a 3-way runoff. But anyway, let's go into this game here. Looks like we're going to see a overpool there from Yellow Arnc, I believe. Yeah, that actually, no, that's a 9-pool there. Sorry, 9-pool from Yellow Arnc. Given that the Overlords just came out, and Stork now is going to be going for a standard 2 cannons there. He's not going to try to save on cannons, as we've seen some tosses do and lose recently too. He's going to go, going to go stay honest here, and we'll see if Yarnc pursues the probe or if he goes right for the main. In fact, he's going to go and pursue the probe a little bit. Stork is a very good Protoss versus Terran player and PvP player, but I mean his Protoss versus Zerg style has been good, but I wouldn't say it's the same kind of S-class caliber of his other 2 matchups. He recently lost to Quanro in the game I just casted in that group, CJ versus Khan, in a rather lackluster game, actually. He went for Goon Reaver and didn't really pull it off so well. But Stork isn't bad. He definitely has won against top players like Jadong, and, he lost to Luxury in the World Cyber Games afterwards, but, whatever. I just don't, we'll see what he does. We'll see if he kind of just plays a standard Protoss here, which is what I expect.
Well, I got to mention that the only thing really important about this matchup right from the start is that Stork beat Yellow last time he played him on Return of the King with a one-piece build, which was pretty impressive in my opinion. He definitely pulled off a build that I remember watching the games thinking there was no way he was going to be able to win that, and he did. He pulled out a great win. So now really Yellow is definitely going to have to prove himself against Stork. Stork, not the best PVZ, sorry about that. And Yellow, not particularly that great of ZVP. So this match, I think, is definitely even, especially with the skill levels that we're seeing coming from these players these days. And look at Stork. He is sending 4 probes to block the line in I guess, anticipation of a run by. But right now, it looks like instead, Yellow's just content to take down as many temples as he can. And maybe, if he can take out enough, he's going to head into the back of Stork's base. Now, we have seen this before. It's unlikely because it takes forever for those links to break through, but
yeah,
it's
it does.
Possible, and we could see him try to do it if he does, I guess, dedicate those lings there for so long. The thing is, it's going to take Stork for a while. It's going to take Stork a while to really build up his forces, considering he went for the Forge Fast Expand build, which obviously it takes a while before you get good forces. And then he can only send a couple of zealots at a time to really try to do this. But it looks like Stork actually may scout this out very early. He may try to send out a zealot and a couple of probes to take care of this. He's going to see that his temples have been being attacked for quite a while at this point. I think 2 or 3 are down.
Yeah.
And certainly another couple about to go down. So Yellow doing a pretty good job there. And Stork is going to have to think about putting up some defenses back there, which it looks like he's considering doing.
You know, the thing is, that is the standard reaction, is to put a cannon up there, but he might not have enough time anymore for the cannon to actually do enough damage. Like you said, there's been a lot of tempo damage there. I think probably 6 or 7 have gone down, so this might not actually work out, and Stork could take a very early disadvantage in this game here if the temples go down. Even if Yarnc doesn't do substantial damage with his lings, he's going to open up that back path, and that is just no good for the Zerg. No, I'm sorry, for the Protoss. They just hate having that back open, because then they're going to have to put cannons, a lot of cannons in the back, waste a lot of minerals doing that, and just leave themselves very open for counterattacks. And here we go. There's the cannon going up there. It's going to be a race here. I do think the cannon might be done, but if Yarnc has been counting carefully, I think he should have enough lings there, even if they take some damage, to just pick off the rest of those temples. We're going to have to see. Yarnc going for a 3-hatch Spire there, probably going to go into 5-hatch, and you know, he's going to pick up an advantage. He doesn't have a lot of forces to actually drive home an attack, but he's going to have that strategic advantage. That's huge. On the other hand, Stork, in a recent game we watched with Jangbi fought the very impressive Quanro, he used just 1 Archon to kill all of Quanro's temples, and that was just horrible for Quanro, led to basically his defeat. And Stork, it looks like he's managed to chase away Yarnc's Zerglings, so it looks like the temples won't be destroyed for now.
Yeah, and Stork is definitely playing a standard game at this point. He's got his Corsairs going to his Nexus. He's seen the Spire, so he's expecting some sort of potential Muta harass. I did see a second gas going up for Yellow, so I'm not sure if he is going for the 3-hatch Muta build or if he's going to transition into the 5-hatch Hydra Lurker build, but we'll have to see what he goes for now. Right now, he's got a couple of Corsairs going to his main, so he is going to be able to protect pretty easily against Mutas. It looks like we are going to see Mutas based on the amount of eggs that we see building at the same time. He's also getting up his gateways at this point. It looks like a couple of drones. No, I think it is going to be Mutas. It's still a little bit early, waiting for those eggs to pop out, and there we see another hatchery going down. So maybe he is going to switch into that 5-hatch build, but I think he's going to go for an initial bit of a harass.
He's going to get some Mutas first.
Yeah, definitely. He is going to get that Muta brunch, and I think this is a good idea. I think that he can actually take out the cannon in the back if he wanted and continue to attack with the lings on those temples, or he can just try to harass the mineral lines as best as he can, and this is looking like it's more likely to be the option as he goes in against a couple of cannons, and he's got some Scourge there. He managed to take out one of the Corsairs. More Scourge coming in. Take out the second Corsair. There are still two left, though, and those those Corsairs doing a ton of damage against those Muta, and really, I don't think that was profitable for Yellow to go. He lost too many units in that exchange.
That was definitely ballsy. We generally don't see that kind of unsafe play from Yellow Arnc. Looks like, you know, he's definitely hit puberty, it seems, and he's like, I'm going to go right in. You know, that was pretty manly. Usually Yarnc plays a very careful game. He plays a very careful game in general. Not a bad game, you know, just a very careful and sort of by the book game. But that was definitely interesting, just going right in. I do think it was a little bit of a blunder overall, though, because I don't think he had enough mutas to really kill off 2 cannons and that many Corsairs. But it was pretty good, actually. It was pretty ballsy, and you know, he got a couple of Corsairs, so it wasn't a huge loss. It's going to force Stork here to build a number more of Corsairs, and now he's got some speed lots running up. We'll see if he does anything. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that much, though. There's a decent number of forces there, and Stork's going to be transitioning into a sort of a standard speed lot Templar game here, but he's been forced to build a couple of cannons. I think he's lost a number of probes, and wow, now forced to morph himself a Archon. He probably wanted to keep them as High Templar, and that Archon's taking a lot of damage right now. The Archon might actually, almost goes down, but looks like the Scourge are driven off or suicide themselves. And that's going to be it for the Mutalisk Caress, I think, with the Archon now out. But I think Yarnc has picked up a lead in this game, definitely with the number of probes that have been killed, and with the fact that now he can transition to Hydras, and he might actually get off a good timing attack here, you know, if he gets a number of Hydras out and there's not a lot of Storm.
Yeah, and I think Stork is actually a little bit worried. He's putting up a shield battery. He's also about to lose a couple of Corsairs if he's not careful trying to take out an Overlord. And he's going to put up that shield battery so that he can recharge that Archon shield like he just did right there. And that is going to help. He's also putting down some extra cannons. He does have Templar, but the question is, will they have Storm? And even if they do, if Yellow dodges them well enough, he's going to be able to just take out the buildings at the front door and really pick them off. But the speed lots plus Storm may deter this long enough for Stork to stay in this match. Right now, I think Stork is in a little bit of trouble. He's waiting for those back cannons to morph, and he's going to have to be aggressive with those Zealots, but they're stuck behind the pylon. They're able to attack the cannons directly, and oh man, they basically got the Zealots caught in a little bit of a choke there. The Zealots are going down way quicker than the Hydras. The Hydras are being killed by the cannons. They're being forced back a little bit, so it looks like Yellow, with a pretty good attack there, taking out quite a few Zealots, more than I thought that he was gonna. Stork a little bit out of position with those Zealots, putting them behind the pylon. I think if anything, he may have wanted to take out that pylon because it was really holding him up. And now this time we see Yellow going for another expansion, which is exactly what he should be doing. Very standard play by just going for the next expansion while attacking, keeping Stork off his bases. And now Stork is definitely going to start becoming more and more behind in this game if he can't break out shortly. And now we see the 5 gateways going up in his main, so he's going to have enough production in the very near future, but he's definitely behind. And now Robotics Facility probably to deal with any lurkers, and DTs are out, so let's see if he can do some harassment with those DTs.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that he has going for him is this small but you know, important force of Corsairs. He's executing slow Overlords here. Yarnc does not have speed upgrade yet, although Yarnc could just precision kill them with these Corsairs. We're gonna have to see how good his Corsair play is. Oh, it's not very good there. I gotta say, he is not a Bisu when it comes to his Corsair play. This is one thing that, you know, separates him from Bisu. Bisu obviously is an amazing PvZ player. You know, the revolutionist. They call him a revolutionist for a reason. He, you know, invented basically a whole different paradigm of playing, and Stork is not the revolutionist in PvZ. He's actually only about 50% PvZ, and he's over 61% for his other 2 matchups. So, you know, definitely his weakest lineup here. And whereas Yarnc, I feel his stats are only about 50%, but he's gotten a lot better at it, where Stork hasn't really gotten better at PvZ. Yarnc has gotten better at ZVP, certainly. I've seen him beat a lot of top players recently in this matchup, although, you know, I would say actually he is a favorite against Stork, starting off at least. You know, just if they both play a macro game, Yarnc is just more precise at it. He's got a lot of lurkers coming out, which means that he'll finish off those temples if he wants to, and then he should be fine against going to the back. But now Stork finally using that DT, but more Scourge coming along, so not going to work here.
Yeah, Stork is not going to be able to succeed with that DT at all. It's going to be taken out by the Hydras like so, and now there are lurkers outside his base attacking the temples, and they've only got a couple more to finish off. Not that it matters, because it would have taken the same amount of time regardless of if there were 10 or 2. But either way, he is going to break into the back door of Stork, and Stork only with the single cannon there. He may or may not know that those that temple is being attacked. I don't know if he's routinely checking it or can hear the lurkers' attacks, but if he can, he's going to have to set up some rear defense. It looks like he does have units going to the back of his base. Right there we see some goons, Templar. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage. If Yellow tries to commit to an attack here in this very narrow little shelf that he'd have to be trying to get up the back of, Stork with good storms could do a lot of damage to any force forces that he could send up. So Yellow smartly scouting the area before, and he's going to see a lot of units there, so he may decide to back off, but no, he does decide to at least finish the temples off. So we'll have to see if Yellow decides to try to go up there. But look at Stork. Stork has a very nice, strong,
good tactical position.
Zerg force. He's got, he's definitely in position for a pincer, and he's got a lot of Templar, so he may be able to get off some great storms. Now we're going to see Yellow trying to transition to Hive Tech and see if he can get out some Defiler play, most likely, and see if he can do some damage there.
Yeah, I really like this early transition into Defiler play, not into Defiler play, but into Hive at least, because, you know, a lot of times Zerg hang on too long to this Tier 2 stuff, and it's good for a while, but, you know, later on the Protoss, just with this kind of ball here, Archon, you know, Zealot, Goon, and Templar ball is just too powerful, especially if you got a Reaver or two in there. It just defeats the crap out of the mid-game Zerg. And, you know, I'm glad to see this relatively fast transition. A lot of times Zergs lose because they don't have it, but he's going to have to weather this storm first. That's a lot of Protoss units moving out here. Good storm dodge, and another not-so-good storm dodge. No way he could have dodged that one. There were Hydras in front and behind it. Meanwhile, a bunch of Lings getting sacrificed there, trying to take out some of these Templar. There's one observer out, just one, I believe. So if that observer goes down, the lurkers should be able to stop this push. But that's, you know, a far cry here. This is a far challenge here with all those dragoons around. That one observer might still stay alive, and that's going to be really, really horrible for Yarnc. Yarnc in sort of big trouble here, but he's got more reinforcements coming in now. Only dragoons left, which means that Lings are going to be very effective, although lurkers will not be effective. Lurkers are horrible against dragoons, and lurkers now trying to go in, just getting stormed the hell out of. Very nice storms by Stork. Very, very nice here. And, you know, this reminds me a lot of a Jangbi-esque play. Jangbi, of course, when he was playing against Quanro in that series a few days ago, he managed to stop a gigantic Zerg army with just pure storms, something like 8 storms simultaneously raining upon, you know, all the lurkers and all the forces of Quanro. And Stork doing a decent job of a fighting retreat here, of killing off entirely Yarnc's army, I think. And Stork, while he doesn't have a big army left either, you know, he's managed to break out. It's just he needs to commit though and you know, do some damage. Otherwise, he still won't be in the lead yet.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Yellow has, I counted 8 hatcheries. I may be off by 1 as well. He might have another one that I haven't seen. And so he's
Templar.
He's doing oh, nice, catching him right in transition. He's actually going to be way ahead if he just keeps zerging the forces of Stork, and Stork just keeps running him out, especially if Stork sticks to Goons, which it looks like he has finally decided to go back to more of a Zealot Archon build, which is definitely going to benefit him. Now, Hive Tech is up at this point, so really, I'd actually say that Yellow is in a really good position here. We'll have to see if Stork can get out. He hasn't really broken out past, I don't know, a little distance outside of his main choke, and so he's not actually been able to do any damage to Yellow other than taking out units. But again, with 8 hatcheries, he is just pumping cracklings at this point. I mean, it's got to be said that with the Hive Tech up, the first upgrade he should be going for, especially with the amount of Lings that he has been pumping out, is the crackling upgrade. And now we see the double evolution chamber showed right there. So we're going to see heavy upgrades coming from him, and he's going to be able to deal a lot of damage to this Protoss force with a lot of Zealots. With that heavy Zealot Archon army is going to do a lot of damage to any amount of Lings that he can pump at him. And Stork, with 8 gateways of his own, is going to be able to pump out a good amount of units as well. But he's definitely going to have to secure another base to really get ahead in this match. And at this point, it's really tough to call. I think that they're both pretty even, and we're waiting for one of those pivotal changes. Maybe it's going to be some good storms. Maybe it's going to be the Archon just ripping apart Lings. But at this point, we're still waiting for that pivotal moment to see what changes the game.
Absolutely. Looks like Stork still 1 attack upgrade up on the carapace of Yarnc, but that should be balanced out pretty soon. Yarnc, I think, has been upgrading pretty consistently. There's an attack from Yarnc. He knows he has to stem the tide of Protoss units before they get map control in the middle of the map, but looks like he's unsuccessful this time. He doesn't have enough forces in transition just yet. I'm not sure what tech he's exactly going for. I know he's got cracklings, but he should be there with one other tech. There is Defiler, so he's going to go Lurker Ling, I guess, plus Defilers. But, you know, this is a very gas-intensive build also, and he's going to need to be really careful about the storms. That's going to be just horrible for him if he, you know, it's a good combination, basically, but the Storms can definitely just completely nullify this, and he's just running units in. Now it's his turn to run units in and get them slaughtered piecemeal. Stork doing a very nice job. You got to feel for Yarnc. He's, I think, practiced a lot. He's the kind of person I think who's definitely hungry for a victory, and he's been he seems like the kind of kid who practices all day long to try to get good. He doesn't have the natural skill of a Savior or a Jaedong, I feel. He doesn't have that natural intuitive game sense, nor does he have the sort of clock-like mechanics of a Flash. But on the other hand, I think the kid's got a lot of just chutzpah, and he's got a lot of heart. So I definitely like Yellow Arnc as a player in general. I think he's kind of the underdog player, but you know, the kid, he plays so much that he bathes almost never. He evidently never bathes. I think you're the one who tells me, but he's the smelliest person on OGN, yes. And his teammates complain about him not showering all the time. So, you know, that shows some true dedication there.
Yeah, dedication or not, he is losing this match at this point. We just saw that what we were talking about. All those Lings getting slaughtered. Great Storms. I got to say, Stork is doing a fantastic job with his Templar. I mean, he's got so many of them, and he's not wasting any Storms. You know, all of them are well placed. Right after that, he makes them into Archons, so, you know, he's not wasting any of his use. Look at that Storm. And, right into another Storm.
Brutal.
Oh, my God. Yellow's got nowhere to run. There's just too many Templar. Now Stork is just able to scout a new base that Yellow's trying to get up. Now Stork does have map control. He has finally officially made it out of his base, and I'd say he's got map control. And at this point, it looks like he's just going to go right in.
Where are the Defilers?
Shut it down. I don't know. You know, he's on 3 gas, and I thought that he was going to have Defilers out earlier, but at this point, he really hasn't been able to do that. He's looking to get that 4th gas.
No.
If he gets that 4th gas, he would be in a commanding position to really do a lot of damage. DT's out of the field too now, so if there are no Overlords, man, Yellow is going to just, I think he's officially kind of lost this match at this point as he loses his expansion that he tries to get up, and Stork really does have a good contain on him. So we'll have to see if Stork decides to go in the back door himself, break down those temples, or if he's just going to A-move over him and call it a day for Yellow.
Well, I mean, Yellow Arnc has not used his Hive Tech at all, other than, you know, getting crack. That's the only thing he's gotten. He's basically on Lair still at level 2. Hydra Ling here still, and, you know, this is, it's basically like as if he didn't get Hive. Pretty much anything he's done, everything he's done so far could have been done without using all the gas on a Defiler's Mound and on Hive Tech. But, you know, right now, I can understand why he's not doing it. It's because he's constantly having to build units to fight in the middle, but that kind of vicious cycle never gets you anywhere, because you're never going to be able to tech, you know, if you're just constantly be using all your units on low-level units to try to kill the middle. And you know, right now Stork has the middle, and Yarnc is doing a very courageous job of trying to stop him from holding the middle. Every time he gets a couple of units, he tries to do something, but it's just not working. This might actually do some damage, although there are 4 cannons. Just a small force here getting into the back of Stork's base, and not microed very well, to be honest. He needs to take down these cannons and maybe focus on that Nexus. Looks like a High Templar is going to get us dropped there and storms the cannons. Nice work, and that's going to clean up that back attack. I think Yarnc had the right idea there, but he didn't execute it earlier when he had more forces. Finally a Defiler out, finally. But I think at this point, look at the unit counts. 122 against 86, and even number of bases. It's pretty much over, although, oh, that doesn't hurt, though. Yarnc scourging that shuttle. Nice work.
Yeah, and really, now he's doing what he has to do, which I think he probably should have had done earlier.
Too late.
Get it in those Lings, but now he's going to get pincered in by Archon Zealots, which obviously that attack is not going to do anything. He lost a Defiler with that as well, so really, what does he have left? He's got these 1 control group forces that he keeps sending in, and a nice surround on that Archon, taking him out really quickly.
Yeah.
He's out in the mix. He's going to continue to try to break in the back, but with those Zealots there, he's not going to get very far, and again, with that force that's just going to pincer him, he's really not going to do any damage. With the Zealots there, that Defiler also can't do any damage unless he was going to Plague, but it looks like he's not. So we're going to see a Dark over the next.
Finally a Swarm.
He may get that down.
But, it's really, too many lots.
Zealots right in there to take him out, and there's not any damage that he's going to be able to do to that base. And even if Stork lost that base, I still think he'd be in the lead. And Yellow, with just a lot of ground to cover at this point, I just don't know if he can do it. With the fact of the matter is that Stork is continuing to build up his forces. So all these little attacks, as they keep getting extinguished over and over and over, is just putting Yellow at more and more of a disadvantage. So unless he's able to accomplish a lot more with those expeditionary forces that he keeps sending out, he's gonna lose. And I think we're about to see, now that he's got a big force sending out to the middle, we're gonna see if he can turn the tides back in his favor.
Yeah, I'm feeling like he really can't. I mean, just looking at the army sizes and looking at Stork's play, and oh my God, it's not just army size, but 4 Archon, 5 Archons. That is just you know, that's GG pretty much. Those Overlords might be full of something. I don't know. Might be full of nothing though. I think had those Ling Defiler combinations been used earlier, I think Yarnc could have been in a much better position right now. He could have sniped at least one Nexus. I mean, at least the back Nexus he could have taken down. You know, the first time he brought Lings over there, he didn't even have the Defiler with him, and that was like 6 minutes after Hive was done or something like that. I mean, he got an early Hive, but just didn't take advantage of it. And, you know, that's got to be the reason he lost the game. He just couldn't kill off any of these expansions. And if he just had the Defiler Ling, I mean, that is such a good combination in the late game, but, you know, he just didn't have it in time.
And, you know, he had himself in a great position. He had Stork contained. He was putting him on, you know, he had him on his heels. Stork couldn't get out of his base for the first 10 minutes of the game. And, I mean, that's an extensively long time to hold someone inside their base. And, really, he had the early Hive tech. So both of us were definitely expecting something like this a lot sooner. And the fact that he didn't capitalize on that early Hive tech and stayed in that dangerous Tier 2 tech for way too long that we've seen happen time and time again, especially of players who aren't A-class and more like B-class players. It just kills them, especially when you go against a player like Stork, who is going to make you pay if you make tech moves like that and don't take advantage. And now we're still seeing Hydras coming out, and this is going to be it. There's no way that Yellow's going to be able to come back from this deficit.
Yeah, I mean, another option he could have done was to get these Ultralisks out faster. Had he decided to rush Ultras, it's not unseen. You know, on the amateur level, it actually works quite well off of 3 gas. But, you know, in the pro level, it definitely can. The one, you know, issue is that your Ultras won't have that much time to get all the full upgrades, but still wouldn't get that +2 bonus. It can be good, and he could have done something with that. But, you know, like we were both saying, he didn't do anything with his Hive tech. He's finally got a Lurker in the back. And, you know, also he didn't do anything with that back entrance into Stork's base. He could have done something with that a long time ago, since it was open most of the game. And here we're going to see just 2 Ultras. They're very well upgraded now, but it's not going to work against this many units.
Yeah, now we're going to see 6 Archons, and really, I think it's time for some A-move Protoss to end this game, because really, that's pretty much all Stork needs to do at this point. There was 1 Lurker in the back of his base, causing a little bit of disruption to mining, but that's about it. And with 3 gas, he's going to be able to just keep pumping those Templar that he's been so effective with. I mean, that was a game winner right there for Stork, for sure. The fact that his Templar play, with the exception of the failed Storm drop, was so just powerful, overpowering Yellow at every turn. Every time that he tried to do anything, I mean, there was just no way for him to get around those storms. It was like the perfect storm. Oh, yeah, I've been waiting to say that. So Stork's going to take out that last expansion, and I think this is going to clean up the middle forces of 1 Ultra plus some Lings with his extensive Archon army. And now we see the Yellow reaction and the GG, and that's going to be it. So good game to Stork, and what does that mean?
Well, that means if Stork wins the next game against July, he moves on. The tiebreakers are over. If July wins, then he's going to play Yellow Arnc again, and the tiebreakers continue. And it also means that July is going to have to sit in one stinky booth, since Yarnc's been sitting in it for about half an hour, and you know he probably hasn't showered since 2008. So we'll see if that affects July's play, and let's Stork out of this group. We'll have to see. Stay tuned for Game 2.
GG.